Greetings. We are the class of UHIT 2302 section J1, and in this video we're going to discuss our group project Pandemic and Crisis Management and dive into details about many of the related topics. Those topics include the use of science when facing the pandemic, the impact of religion on facing the pandemic, and the balance between science and religion, as well as consequences of adopting a one-sided approach, which is either can be as a science or religion.
However, before we move on to these points, we will explain first the latest pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, and how the pandemic came to be what it is today. COVID or coronavirus, COV, is a large family of viruses that cause illness ranging from the common cold to more severe diseases such as Middle East respiratory syndrome or MERS-CoV and severe acute respiratory syndrome. Now let's moving on to the point one, the use of science on facing the pandemic. Thanks to the major scientific breakthrough that humanity has gone through, we are now able to combat the current ongoing pandemic. The process of combating the virus can be simplified into two major steps. The first one is to identifying and understanding the enemy, and the second one is to limiting the spread of the virus, which will be explained by my other friends. Thank you.
In the few months since we first encountered this infectious pathogen, researchers around the world have embarked upon an almost undeclared joint venture. The goal of the venture was to fully understand various aspects of the virus. After that, researchers tried to identify the method of spread of virus such as airborne, bloodborne, or other method. This finding led most countries to resort to physical distancing as primary strategy for limiting the outbreak.
Apart from that, religion is also playing an important role during the pandemic period. Most religions also provide some positive thinking and action for their believer to face these pandemics and crises. In the Islam religion, their believers, Muslims, are guided by their religion to protect themselves during this COVID-19 pandemic. Muslim was told that whoever prays to Fajr is in the protection of Allah. With this prayer, Muslim will gain spiritual protection from Allah. Other than praying, Muslim is also advised by religion that they should practice social distancing, stay at home, and avoid go to crowded places. When Muslim is showing symptoms of COVID-19, they are encouraged to be stay positive in mind and stay connected to Allah.
In responding to COVID-19 pandemics, some people are more attentive to religious authorities rather than state authorities. Convertism among religious people can be seen from their rejection of the government's suggestion to comply with health records in organizing religious worships. They argue that religious people should fear God more than fear COVID 19.
Therefore, to show the consequences of not balancing science and religious thinking in managing crisis and pandemic, uh, the incident happened in India in the early month of April. At least 50 million people crowded along the Ganga River for a Hindu religious festival that has since been linked to at least 2,000 COVID cases. Another incident that is when the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, has held a large election rallies, including one in March that attracted 800,000 people.
On top of that, experts said many Indians felt it was no longer vital to continue social distancing or wearing a mask. Many Indians think their God will protect them from COVID 19. That's why they conduct non stop religious activities, thus making an impact on various economic sectors. As infection have risen, hospitals in hotspot have been running out of vaccines due to the lack uh, due to the lack in healthcare infrastructure at present may not be able to do it fast enough, even if there were enough supplies for vaccines.
Thank you, Said. So now I will be taking the conclusion part. So in the conclusion, as we are living the life in the era of scientific development and technology, we still cannot ignore our way of life that is fueled by our religion. Every religion in the world has something to teach us that keeps us away from any kind of bad influence that life throw at us. Science will help us get through the hardships of the daily lives, but it won't help us to sustain our sanity. So, thanks to our friends who helped to create this assignment, and special thanks to our lecturers. Assalamu alaikum.